Hey everyone, welcome to Tea with Trish. Today I have a co-host. I have Coco here, and I have a very special guest by the name of Ashley Alvarez. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for
Good.
having me. And Coco, thank you for having me too.
She's like, yeah. So, how are you?
I'm good. It's really hot. It's hot over here. That's what I was saying. It's like, and I'm wearing a see-through shirt, and I was still sweating. So.
I didn't notice it was see-through. Don't say it's see-through. People won't know. Yeah, no, it's really hot.
Yeah.
It's hot outside. It's one of those things, you drive from, like I was telling you, we were just coming from Ventura and it was so nice out there. And then we get here and I was like, holy crap. It's like,
I know.
how?
I see like the fire went out, which is good because I was like, oh my God, it's like 100 degrees and you're lighting the fire.
Yeah, like, what are you guys doing? They're trying to make us melt over here.
Oh, there goes Coco.
Oh, she left.
She
She
abandoned
quit.
ship. That's it.
She quit. It's okay. She'll be back. Come on, Cokes.
Oh,
she wants to, okay.
I'm the chosen
You
one.
freaking traitor. Okay.
I feel so special.
That's fine. Oh my gosh. So, what are you up to? What's going on in your life? Tell me.
Working, just trying to get projects moving, projects off the ground. That's kind of like the name of the game.
Okay.
It seems now, in the industry, everybody's kind of just trying to create their own projects.
When you say projects, by projects, what exactly do you mean?
Well, I act and I write, so just creating opportunities for myself, for the people around me, because the industry is very particular and very, when they talk about gatekeepers, there is 1000% gatekeepers, especially when you're a Latino. So it's an even smaller gate and even fewer gatekeepers. So
Okay, so particular, elaborate on what you mean by that.
there's just industry stereotypes, and if you don't fall directly within a category, they don't really know where to put you. If you're too Mexican looking or what their idea is, and you don't look like a maid, then they don't know where to put you. Or if you don't look like, the stereotypical chola, or
Yeah.
if you're not a 5'7", light skinned Latina, then you're not the vixen, or so
Got it.
there's just images that they want us to portray. And I feel like a lot, now, ever since COVID, and then ever since the strike, everybody's talking about like this renaissance, right? Like people want to create their own content. They want to kind of break through that stereotype and kind of create their own narrative as far as like who they are, who they want to be seen as, and the kind of work that they want to be a part of.
Okay, and so where do you think you fall in all of this? You were talking about stereotypes, and when you get a part, what are you normally like casted as?
Honestly, I think that's the problem is I'm Mexican American. So I'm like third generation born here.
Okay.
I'm born and raised in East Los Angeles, and I don't think there really is a space for that. Like there's like Latinos that are from Mexico, right? Like they like to like say like your Salma Hayek, right? You have like your Salma Hayek. They have like the accent. They are a little bit on the darker skin tone, and then you have like your Sofia Vergara's, who are like the taller, more voluptuous. You have then more of like Colombian, Brazilians,
Right.
just
Yeah.
more of a fair skin tone. And how many like Mexican American, Latina, Chicana actors do you know?
No, it's yeah, you got to really think. And
yeah.
Everybody always says the same thing. Salma Hayek, Sofia Vergara. Like it's always the same couple of actors.
For sure.
And that's it.
Yeah, and
So-
they're kind of like they're like the mold, like they're that. And
And honestly, they're exceptional. I mean, like not everybody is. We're not all Salma Hayek, so we're not.
yeah,
all,
I mean there are a lot of but there's also, how many roles are there that require a Salma Hayek? Very few, and who are they going to give him to? Salma
Hayek.
Yeah, Salma Hayek. Like, they've already kind of opened the gate and kind of like let who they want in. You know, a lot of people talk about that. You know, it's like there's only so many spots, and you see the same faces, you know, the same characters.
So that goes back to why people are trying to create their own spaces.
Yeah, right? Definitely. There's, you know, I mean, people will say, oh, you know, I want to create my own projects. I want to tell my own stories. And that's all fine and dandy, you know, but then we end up telling the same stories and the same project. You know, we kind of end up feeding into the same stereotypes that we're trying to, you know, fight against. Right. You know, so it's definitely like a little double-edged sword, I feel, you know.
Yeah. So you just said that you grew up in East LA.
Yeah.
How was that?
I mean,
I know you loved it. You were just saying.
Yeah, I love LA. I love East LA. I never want to leave LA. I mean, I'm LA adjacent right now, so I've kind of like upgraded a little bit.
LA adjacent.
LA adjacent.
That's a nice way to say.
Yeah. But I love LA. I'm more scared of LA now than I was when I was growing up in LA.
Yeah, I think that's
like,
just
I had
age.
no
it has
fear. I had no fear. I would take the bus.
Yeah.
Like, go to the Montebello Mall with my friends and walk down Cesar Chavez and
ignorance is bliss.
Walk everywhere. Yes. And I was just like, I wasn't afraid of anything. Like, there was, you know, you're cautious. You know the neighborhoods you're in, but I wasn't like scared. Like, now I'm like, the kind of person that like locks my door when I start driving through East LA. Like.
I think it's just age because I mean, you know, I'm sure you too, maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you. But there's been dangerous situations, and I think back now to when, you know, I was younger and I was like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, oh my God.
I mean, like, we lived dangerously back then.
Yes.
I mean, we would go to house parties at people's homes we didn't know.
Yeah. And actually,
like, call a number, right? Like, I would call a number. We would call a number and just show up to like random people's homes.
Yeah, that's the way it was, and it was fun.
Oh yeah,
it was fun, but I mean, I used to throw some of the biggest parties in the valley, so I know.
Oh, I know.
But we lived very dangerously, not even knowing it. We just thought we were just like having fun. What a way to grow up.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's just so much out there. I feel like it really is. Like, take away, you know, what it's become. I feel like that's just LA in general. It's really, there was a point, I feel like they were putting and investing money into it because you can see like parts of downtown that pre-COVID, like they were, you know, like kind of around where like Angel's Flight and all that is, like in that little area, like they were putting a lot of money into that. Yeah. And I mean, I remember driving down during COVID and it looked like an apocalypse. Like, everything was boarded up and tagged. There was like tumbleweeds, you know, in the street. People looked like they've been chewing on their arms. Like, it was creepy. And I don't think it ever like fully made a recover, but there's so many like, I mean, historical buildings out that way. And it's just really sad to see like kind of where it's at now, but I still love it. I still, you know,
it's home for you.
Yeah, I still rep East LA every day.
Yeah. So what school did you go to?
I mean, I didn't go to school I didn't go to like Garfield or Roosevelt. Those are like the classic East LA. We try to upgrade a little bit. We went to Wilson. I went to school in El Sereno. Okay. And I mean, I moved around a lot. So I've lived in East LA, but I've lived kind of all around just LA in itself. And I think like the schools were like the only thing that we try to keep consistent. So like no matter where we were, like we would wake up and like drive to that specific school. Yeah. And
how long is the drive from East LA to El Sereno?
It's not that far. But I've lived in like out by like Martin Luther King Boulevard for a while, and then like back to East LA. And it's not that it's far, but it's just to be consistent when you're moving around so much when you're little.
Yeah.
Not that El Sereno's like that much, not that much of an upgrade, but back then, I guess if you had like Garfield and Roosevelt, they kind of figured like that was a little bit. It was just a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
Especially back then, early 2000s.
Yeah. So your parents always just kind of sent you out of the neighborhood then?
Kind of. I mean, El Sereno has its own neighborhood.
Right. Yes.
But I don't know what the logic was behind that. So
they're like, just not here.
Just
not
not
Garfield
here.
Or just not
Garfield, just not Roosevelt. Yeah, but I mean, my mom went to Garfield. So we're like
maybe that's
rural
why
East
she
LA.
didn't send you.
We're like rural East LA. Yeah.
So she went. So she knew.
Yeah.
So she was like, yeah,
it's
not
rough,
not for you.
It's rough out there.
Yeah. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have 2 brothers. So an older brother and a younger brother. Yeah.
Okay. No sisters?
No sisters. No.
Okay. So you got to keep all your clothes and not have to worry
well,
about.
I mean, we didn't have many clothes. I grew up on hand-me-downs. Yeah. So, I always thought like I would want a sister, but now realizing probably not.
Yeah.
No.
No, I got a lot of them, and you know what? It's overrated.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, you know what? I think about it. I'm like, another me? Like, that's intense.
Yeah. And then how about children? Do you have?
Yeah, I have 2 children.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a boy, 11, and then my daughter is 8.
Okay, so 11 and 8. So they're still pretty little.
Yeah, they're little.
Aw, and I'm sure they keep you very busy.
They do. My son is chill. He's a gamer. He's all about the games.
Yeah.
We play. We have the Steam Deck, the VR, the PC.
All of that.
All of it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
That these little children want
it
nowadays.
It is nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if we were like, oh, I just want a VR. Like, what the hell's a VR?
Right?
Like, to watch these kids
I'm
play.
like, I just want food. How about that? Can we get some hot water this month? That would be nice.
Yeah, or let's go outside. Let's get on the bikes,
can
right?
I get, a pair of shoes, not from Payless.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're like, okay, VR?
Yeah,
I just wanted some shoes,
exactly.
man.
But it's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's also the times, right? Like, technology rules all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not to say you have to, like, keep up with the Joneses, because I think like that's definitely overrated, but I do think like there is a sense of when you come from very little, you want to give double whatever you didn't have, you never want somebody to be with that. I mean, I remember I used to get made fun of at school for wearing like the same, like I think I had like 2 pairs of pants, maybe like 3 shirts, and kids noticed that.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, why do you always wear the same clothes all the time?
Yeah.
And it's like emotional damage instantly.
Yeah. And
like at 13 years old, you're like, oh my
yeah,
God.
no, that sucks. Kids can be like really.
For sure.
Like,
and that's
terrible.
Like, pre-social media.
Yeah, imagine what the kids have to go through now.
Kids, like, adults too. Yeah. People still be picking on us. They'll still be picking on us. What are you talking about?
No,
I get some crazy messages sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, the judgment.
Yeah, if you put yourself out there though, I feel like you just got to be ready, right? I mean, social media is kind of like a choice. When you're a kid, it's like, man, you're just living.
I know.
And these little bratty ass kids got to be all up like.
I'll take the bratty ass kids like better than those damn moms that come at you. The mom shaming,
so like do they get on you on social media?
I mean, I don't really post my kids that much for the reason of like because I think like people have been judgy. People always have an opinion. If you put it out there, you're putting it out there for people to have an opinion on.
Like about what though? Just about you?
Anything. Like if you're out too much, then you're
like,
not with your kids. Yeah. If you're
like, I don't know.
Yeah. Kids?
Like I'm just here. I just left them. I don't know where I left them.
They're cool.
Like come on.
But or anything that your child says, they'll try to make it a reflection of your parenting. And it's like kids are just kids. Like my daughter is crazy. She says crazy stuff.
Yeah.
She's off the handles. And, you know, to her, things are funny. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's a line, like, they're so much more informed.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
than we, like, everything is at their fingertips. They have access to everything. So sometimes she says some crazy stuff. And, you know, I mean, I just don't, one, they're little too. Like, they are not choosing to be on my social media. Like, that's my social media, you know?
Right.
So, like, my son hates taking pictures. So I don't press that if he doesn't want to me to record him, if he doesn't want me to take pictures.
Yeah.
Then I don't. But then it's like, oh, well, why do you only post your daughter? Why don't you post, you know, like,
God,
you just can't win.
No.
It's always a lose-lose.
Yeah, so they're always going to find something.
Oh, yeah, they always find something. I try to stay as, like, private as possible in any way.
Which is hard, because when you're trying to make it, or, like, even run a business, you have to put yourself out there. And so what do? I mean, you're an aspiring actor.
Oh, trust me. People get on me all the time. Like, you gotta post content. You gotta have content. You gotta have. Oh my God! It's so hard for me to. I guess because I didn't grow up in that era with the phone attached to my hand. I'm still old school. Like, I handwrite everything. Yeah. Like, I can't, like, do the phone thing. Like, even, like, if I'm, like, writing a script or a short or something, like, I have to handwrite everything first, and then I transfer it. And it sounds so dumb, right? Because, like, well, saves you time, but I don't know. It's something about, like, the connection from, like, my thoughts to, like, I can't even explain. It's just, like, a different feeling. It just feels, like, more connected. I feel like I flow better. Yes.
No, I understand. Yeah. Because I feel the same way. I get that 100%. I think nowadays they don't even teach, like, the kids to even, like, what is it, to handwrite, right?
No.
Like,
cursive?
To cursive. Yeah, cursive. They don't even teach them anymore.
Yeah, my son says he spends, like 90% of his day, like, on a computer.
Yeah, which is now what the world is. But, I mean, imagine, like, I can't imagine. It's just not the world I grew up in.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And I think it's cutting out a huge chunk of, like,
somewhat creative, like,
not only creativity, but, like, a skill set, because being able to work in a group or create, like, I went to, like, a parent conference, and, you know, it's like the end of the school year, and they're showing me, like, they did computer stuff, and I go to the teacher, I'm like, you know, you guys didn't have any, like, dioramas this year. And the teacher's looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, you know, where you put some clay together and you bring a shoebox, and you're like,
she's like, why would we need that?
We're like, they're like, we don't do that. I'm like, oh my God, what do you mean?
You're like, it was so useful in life.
That was, you know, I'm a great crafter now because of those dioramas. Are you kidding me?
My gosh. Yeah, no, you know, technology. I remember watching my oldest daughter, you know, go to her kindergarten class, and there was a computer. You know, and I'm like, what are these kids going to do with this computer? Like, they're kindergarten. Like, I don't even know how to use a computer. Like, what are they doing? And then all of a sudden, you know, years go by, and everything just was quickly, like, evolving. Like, it evolved so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
By the time she was in 5th grade, it was like computer, everything.
Oh, yeah, everything's computer.
Yeah.
Everything's computer. And I get, like, the idea, like, what you said is, like, you have to, like, there's no way out of social media. Like, when you're trying to make it in the industry, whether it's literally anything from a small business, modeling, the podcast, like, you have to consistently be on social media. People want to see everything, you know?
Absolutely.
And I'm just, I lack in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I just, I can't get, like, I don't know.
You're living life.
Well, I just feel like holding the camera up to myself, I feel like so vain.
I know. No,
because it's
I
like
get
a
it.
constant, like, looking at myself. Like, I'm tired of looking at myself. I don't want to look at myself.
I get up in the morning, I look at myself, I go to bed.
Yeah. You know?
No, I understand. But, yeah, I mean, I own a small business, and that's, like, 50% of my business is, like, trying to get my social media on point and doing all of those things. It's just another job for us, but like you said, there's no way out of it.
There isn't.
And I mean, honestly, it's a great thing and it's a terrible thing at the same time.
That is. I mean, if you look at like where social media has gone, like they have their own category now, because before it was like an influencer, right? Influencer was like they influenced you on products. Like there was why they were called influencers. Like there was a purpose. Yeah. Now you have like TikTokers and they do absolutely nothing. And they have no talent. Like maybe they have a talent, but that's not what they're showcasing. Yeah. Like they don't do anything. Right. And
they're just entertaining you. Is what they're doing.
I don't even think it's entertainment. At that point, I'm just like I'm like, what is this? Like, why is this popular? Like they're literally doing nothing, you know? Yeah. And people are just paid. Like, but they're getting managers, they're getting sponsors and deals, and they're getting opportunities, and it is just blows my mind. Somebody who's grown up in the in the arts, like from a small child. I studied dance, I've done theater, and all the way through like the industry, how it's changed, where I remember getting into modeling at like 18 and I started getting into modeling because I thought I was going to go to college to be a dancer, like to like be on Broadway or something. That was what I thought. And I got an opportunity to go dance at a club, like a brand new club. And back then, this was like early 2000s, to be a go-go dancer, you had to be a model. And to be, you know, and to get booked, you had to have a portfolio, you had to have a follow, you had to be you had to know how to dance. Yeah. And it was hand in hand. And you weren't getting booked unless you had these things, and you would go to auditions and they would tell you no, and then, you know, models were models. Like, I mean, I remember I worked for some of the biggest, like the Dub Show, SEMA, Magic. I worked for Playboy when they had their massive parties.
Do you feel like it was easier to make it back then in the industry, or is it easier now?
I think it's easy. I don't think it's easy either way. I think it's just two different kinds of making it. So back then, I think there was a standard, and I think there's no standard now. You just, if you hit, you hit. Yeah. And everybody's just looking for that one thing that makes them hit. Yeah. And then sometimes it's nothing, and you're like, I don't even know how this person hit, but it's just like gradually over time. Like, yeah. So, and it's still hard, like, because I'm still not in that realm of like sitting there. So I'm still on the opposite, you know, end, where you got to be talented. You have to, a huge part of it is going to be luck. I mean, I've sat in on panels where they have like actors and stuff, and people, like, the number one question people always ask is like, how did you get in? How did you get? And I mean, some will say, oh, I was trying to be an actor. Some are like, I don't know, I was just walking and somebody said, this is this, and I got a part and I got another part. Yeah. And it was just luck, because they fit an image. And so they're able to continue to fill those roles. Yeah. And then after they got in, then they did the studying, then they took the classes, then they wanted to better themselves. But a lot of times, like, I know people that study for, or who have been actively trying to make it in the industry, and they're doing like 10 plus years, and they're nothing.
Yeah, sometimes people go, oh, you're an overnight success, and it's like, no, I've been doing this for a long time. You just didn't know. Yeah, you just didn't see me yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you said you were going to become a dancer, right? Or model. I'm sorry.
Well, originally I wanted to do dance. Okay. Like, there wasn't any. I mean, this is like back when like Paula Abdul, there was like, it was a thing, like Raiderettes. Yeah. Like, the Laker girls. Who did not want to be a Raiderette? Like, that was the dream. Yeah. And so, I thought like there was a space. I felt like there was a space for me to be in that
Yeah, I could totally see you being a little
now,
overrated.
but like, I mean, you didn't
Oh.
even see me
Oh.
back then. I mean,
What does that mean? Were you
I
like a
mean,
late bloomer? Like what?
yeah,
What do you mean?
for
Oh,
sure.
okay.
For sure, late bloomer. Yeah. People always
Oh.
be like, oh my God, like, you look like, what did you get done? I'm like, no, this is just my face. I just grew into my face. Like, I lost weight and, you know, everything kind of, I had like a real chunky face for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I
would
look
never.
at myself and people swear and I'm like, no, this is me.
Yeah.
Minus, yeah, I've gotten like, you know, I think like filler in my lines.
Yeah. Well, haven't
a little
we
bit
all,
of
honey?
like, you know, lip filler.
Yeah. That's our right.
Yeah. I mean, it balanced my face out.
Okay. So there's tricks now. I mean, like, you know, there's so much more available to us now.
Yeah. But also
You
think
know?
like in acting, you like, I want to have facial expression. Like I want movement in my face. I want to, well, I think even more so now, like, I think I grew up idolizing like old Hollywood glam.
Oh yeah.
Like I love like Audrey Hepburn, Marilyn Monroe, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers. Like you had to be a triple threat, right? You had to like dance, sing, and act.
Yeah.
And that was like they had these tiny little waists.
Yeah.
And you know everybody's like singing in the rain. It's
Yeah.
like, and those, I mean, that was like this idea of like this glamorous Hollywood. And even you know the 90s, even to the early 2000s, like you had like this, like the women were beautiful, like there was like star power.
Absolutely.
And now you look at it and it's like they're like, we're done with the pretty, like let's, like the more, I don't want to say like obscure, but they want a just like that has come and gone, you know.
The standard of beauty, do you mean?
I feel like in Hollywood they're just aiming towards, like before, like you have like the Gaston, right? Like a macho man, like that was like the lead male.
Yeah.
And you had like Belle, right? Like that really beautiful feminine, and that was like the lead female.
Yeah.
And like now, like that standard has totally changed. You know, they don't want somebody who looks too masculine. They don't want somebody that's like overly glamorous and unrelatable in beauty standard.
Right.
So,
and some people think that that's a good thing, and then others are like, "Wait, we want that.
Others
we
are
want
like,
our
what
stars
about,
to,
I want my stars to look like
stars." Yeah. I mean, I guess there would be an argument on both sides.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I get like inclusion and all that, but it's, I mean, I'm just from a different generation.
Yeah.
So what I see and what
Your
I
opinion.
grew up in and what I idolized, and you try, you know, you're trying to make it so you're going through years and years and everything's changing, and now maybe at one point, because people are like, you know, oh, you look like, you know, you are an actress, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, but that's really hard. It's like people like, no, you're to this now. But before, maybe that would have fit a standard. Now it's like, well, you're too, you know, we maybe like if you were like a little chunky, or you were like, you know, like
they're like, do something odd.
Yeah,
look a little odd for me, please.
Yeah, I'll get like castings.
Don't be so
like,
cute.
yeah. And a lot of the castings are like that too.
Really?
You know, they want.
I mean,
like,
I don't go to castings. So
I mean, I'll get like a lot of like, you know, more natural, like tattoos are okay. Before tattoos were like frowned upon, right? Like you could have, now it's like, you know, shorter hair. Like there's just a different image.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't, like, so we're talking about castings, right? Like, I can't imagine putting myself out there and trying to, like, get people to like me. And like,
you only got to get a couple people to like you. That's it.
Yeah,
the people that are choosing them.
Like, so walk me through like a casting for you. Like, what? Tell people that have never been to a casting what it's like.
Well, I mean, so back when I first started, I used to go to castings like in person, like when I did modeling, and it would be like you show up in a bikini and you stand there and they judge you, and that was like intense. But now, a lot of things are, you self-tape, so you record and you can, you know, kind of like, so pick your edit and see like what you look best.
So a lot less nerve-wracking than
I mean,
having to
I'd rather go in
into
person.
Really?
because I feel like I'm a better seller when somebody can get to see my actual personality, not just through a screen, and like you can shake their hand and they can kind of like feel you're like through a screen, like there's no exchange of energy.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you can with the character if you're like really, you know, going, but like you're probably like one of like, I don't know, 2, maybe even more, 500 tapes that someone's getting from a casting.
Yeah. So how many castings do you think you've gone on in your career?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like a number. Like, I mean, hundreds.
Maybe. Like and it's not all the same, right? Because you can get casted for like trying to audition for a commercial, audition for a short, then you know, background, you can get background work.
Yeah.
Anywhere. A lot of people, you know, jump on background. It's
income. Growling at?
Oh, sassy.
Sheesh.
Oh my.
Coco is like growling
God.
at us over here. I think she wants me to let her out. Too bad I'm doing a show, Coco. Doing a show. Have a seat.
Oh my God! Look at that little nub wagging over there. It's aggressive.
Look at. She's gonna steal the show.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get her. Come on.
Oh,
she wants me to take her out. Coco, I'm doing a show. Get out.
Coco, that's why you are a short-lived co-star.
Yes, you're fired already. God,
she's done. She's like, are we done here? Oh.
You got something to say.
Oh
She's my guest today. God. Okay, maybe this was a bad idea, guys. somebody come get the co-host.
Some Coco assistants over here.
Somebody.
Oh, she's like, are you going to let me out?
Us.
Okay. She's like, somebody's got to let me out over here. Oh.
Well, we'll never do that again. Coco, you're fired.
Some Valley reps over here.
Yes, you're fired.
Look at that.
So... casting. Okay, let's go back to casting while Coco's chilling
Coco's
right
like,
here. Okay.
Somebody give me something over here.
Have you ever is there a story that you can give me that you've ever like been embarrassed? Like, give me the most embarrassing casting story.
I don't think nothing's embarrassing, right? I think like when you're doing acting, like you have to throw that embarrassment. It kind of goes out the window.
Okay.
Like you can't be embarrassed because you can't. Like you just can't. If you're gonna be embarrassed, like you probably like
wrong business.
Wrong business because they can ask you to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, not anything, but you know, like
Have you ever just thought you nailed it and then?
Oh, I always think I nail it. I think I nail it all the time, and then it's like nothing happens.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's like 100 other people that nailed it. So sometimes it has nothing to do with if you nailed it. It just happens like the look or what they saw, or sometimes they have somebody casted, and so they have an idea of who the counterpart is. And if you don't fit that, then you don't fit it.
Yeah. So you go into these castings with all of these like standards or like, what is it? Like they have what they're looking for. They know in their head already.
Yeah. I mean, you hope that you try to change their mind. Like, you're so great that
right.
like what they then see is like, oh no, we don't want that anymore. We want that.
Yeah.
And but so I mean, that's probably a few,
Yeah. I just never really thought about that. I never thought about, these people that you're walking in to try to impress. They already know exactly what they want. Right. And so unless you change their mind. They're like, as soon as you walk in, they probably already know that's not it.
Because they'll give you a breakdown of like what the character or, what the role is. And you try your best to kind of like fit in that space. If you feel like in any way you can fit in that, like go for it. Because again, you just never know. But I think, it's chance. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Talent is a huge part. Like, don't get me wrong. But like I said, I know many talented people.
Yeah. And
they've never gotten the opportunities that their talent is deserving of.
Yeah. So do you feel like that is how they say it's who you know? Do you feel like that's a big
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always who you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you get past that? What do you like? You just go out and you just have to network, right?
Yeah. Networking is huge.
Many people as you can.
Networking is huge for sure. That's also it feels like it's full-time job. Like you have your full-time job, and then you have your full-time job, and then you have your fulltime job.
Full-time job.
Yeah, because you have to stay. It's a different form of social, right? It's like the reality social media, right?
Yeah.
Networking is like staying relevant. You have to be at the events. You have to show that you're like, hey guys, I'm still alive. You know, I mean, I remember, I don't know why I wasn't posting or something. And people would message me like,
You okay?
well, are you alive? I'm like, well, you're messaging me and I'm responding. So yeah, I'm alive.
You're like, I'm here.
Like, you know.
I'm just at home.
Yeah, like I just, you know, don't want to go where
Just
you are
relax.
anymore.
Yeah. Don't feel like driving an
You
hour.
know,
Don't feel
been
like
there,
getting
done
dressed
that.
up. Don't feel like, no, it's really hard. I mean,
Yeah.
there are times when, you know, an event comes along and you're like, oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, let's do that. But most of the time, it's like, I mean, unless you have a project coming up or something like that, it's like, maybe I'll just stay home.
I know. And you can't because I think especially like within like the LA Latino community, like if you're not supporting them, they're not going to support you, which I get, you know, because you can't expect them to show up for you if you're not showing up for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it is because you want to like elevate, right? So you want to like kind of like go to the bigger events and be amongst like the bigger people. But the minute that you do, people are like, oh, you think you're too good now?
Oh, have you gotten that? Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, ew.
Yeah. But I mean, it's inevitable, right? It's like when you're a regular girl and now you're a cheerleader.
Yeah, that's
and
called
now
being
you're
a hater.
like, yeah, and now they're like, oh, you think you're cool because you're a cheerleader.
You're like, did you want to be my plus
And
one?
you're like,
I bet you would come.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am cool. No.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, people just tend to pick, you know.
Yeah, but it is the business. It's finding the balance between going to events and not going to every event, because you don't want to be the person that's at every event either, you know?
Right. So there is that balance.
Yeah, like you don't want to just show up to everything.
Yeah, no,
you know,
I get you.
It has to be like, I always ask myself, like, am I going to get something out of this?
Yeah.
Or am I just going
just to go?
And it's the same people I've already met, the same people pushing the same projects.
Right.
And
I mean, nothing against the same people.
No.
We see all the time. But when it's work.
Yeah. But it's like it takes time.
Yeah.
You know, it's time out of your day.
Yeah.
And it's
gotta get ready.
Makeup, it's outfits,
Yeah.
it's everything.
Yeah.
And
no.
You know, it's a process. And like I said, like, what am I going to get out of it? Is it going to move me forward?
Yeah. And then if you have a regular job, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then sometimes you're taking away from that. And then it becomes, you know, a whole other issue.
Exactly.
You know? And so talking about regular jobs, right? What do you do what's your day job?
Well, I bartend. So like, you know, classic actor and a bartender, you know, it's always what makes the most sense, right? Because there's flexibility. I only work on the weekends. I work like 3 days.
Okay.
So, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And then I have all week to do.
Allows you to follow your
my
dream.
stuff, yeah.
Like
what I want to do, which is.
And what do you want to do? What exactly do you want to do?
I mean, I want to, you know, make the big movies. I want to, you know, book a big show. But I think that's everybody, like every actor aspires to do that. So what can I do that's different? So now it's, you know, making my own content, you know, and that's its own avenue, because you got to wear multiple hats, right? You got to not only write it if you're blessed enough to be a writer, then you got to find people to believe that you're good enough and invest in.
And that's where the networking
and that's where the networking comes. And that's the hardest part. I think that's where everybody gets stuck, is the investment, like how to take something from paper and find the money people. Yeah. Right? Everybody's looking for the leprechauns.
Yeah.
You know?
That's for sure.
And in all aspects. I mean, even when you're doing, you know, I got back into the industry. I was married for 8 years and I totally gave up everything. Like I was just a stay-at-home mom. I went from like modeling and dancing like all over in Las Vegas and San Diego, LA and everything.
Yeah.
And then I went to like mom mode, wife mode. In 8 years, I didn't do anything. And then once I, separated and then got divorced, it was really like, okay, like, you're either gonna do it or you're not gonna do it, because like that's it. Like you're back at square one.
Right.
You're starting from the bottom all over again, because I was a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't have a career. Like I didn't have a job to go to. I had to figure it out. I had to figure out, what I was gonna do, and I just saw that as an opportunity to like it's gonna be now or I'm never gonna do it. Yeah.
So you were married at one point, and was your ex-husband, was he like, did he ask you to stop, or was it just something that you were like, I'm gonna be a mom now?
No, it was definitely an ask. It was like, it's either gonna be this or it's gonna be this. And I mean, I understand, because it's not for everybody. Like being a part of the industry is not easy. And that's why industry people tend to stick with industry people, because there's a mutual understanding of like what the job entails. And there has to be, I feel like jealousy and insecurity is such a natural emotion. Like even you can be the most secure person and still feel little inklings of that, like every now and then. But imagine somebody that is just not in that world at all. And they have no idea what that feels like when you're taking pictures, with all these people, or other men are posting you in a colleague way, but to them, like, they don't understand like what that is and why you have to go out.
Right.
And maybe they don't want to go out. Maybe they don't want that life.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you always have to think of as far as partner. And so for me, because even till this day, like, my kids are always number one, and so it was a decision I made. And it was difficult because it's a huge part of my identity,
right? And what makes you happy, obviously.
And what makes me
Yeah.
And so after that was done, I was like, you know what, this is just, I gotta go for it. I gotta try.
Yeah.
And
so how long ago did you get divorced?
It's been like 5 or 6 years now.
Okay, so you're finding your footing again, and you're back.
So I mean, I definitely feel blessed in the sense of, like I said, I know people that have come in and they've, consistently been at it for 10 plus years, and I've definitely been blessed with opportunity that, they have never been given the opportunity to have. So I think that also gives me a sense of like, okay, I'm on the right path, because like these little doors are opening for me. But also understanding like it is a blessing. So like, don't take that for granted, because
would you ever get married again?
I don't know. It depends on the day, right?
Depends on the day.
It does. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I would get married, and then like you're dating somebody, and then it ends horribly, and you're like, I never want to do this ever again.
You're like, nope.
Yeah, you're like, forget it. I'm just gonna be single forever.
So are you single now?
I'm single now. Yeah.
Okay, newly single? It's like I'm single right now, right? You're like, I'm single now.
I'm single, newly single, but I mean, I've dated now people like in the industry, and it's the same thing. It's the same.
same old bullshit.
Same old. Yeah. Same old. And it's just a different layer now, because then you get to see them in the business, and people know them, or people know you, and people know you as a couple.
Yeah.
You can't just like escape them as easily. Yeah.
So what would your dream man be? What would that be like?
Dream man?
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore. I don't even know anymore.
You're like, I don't care.
I don't even know.
You're like, I don't think about that.
Funny, hopefully.
Yeah.
My kids is like somebody fun. My kids are like, can you date somebody fun?
They're like, let them take us somewhere.
Yeah. Like, can we do stuff or what? I don't know. I think it changes, because I've dated like comedians who are like really funny, and then people would be like, oh, I can't even see you with that person, like they're not your type physically. And then I've dated like people that are very handsome.
Yeah.
And then, people look at them and are like, oh my God, I can't even see you with that guy. Like, he's totally, so it's like,
You're like, what do you mean?
I know. I'm like, who do you see me with? But, so I've dated on like the different.
Yeah. So how was it dating a comedian? I mean, I feel like, I'm just saying, like, comedians, are they really like funny all the time, or is that just like
No.
that there's like
I mean, they're
act?
funny, but I mean, they're not like on
And
all the
that get
time.
on your nerves, right? You'd be like, shut up.
I mean, that's the least that gets on me. No, I mean, I think they're not funny all the time, but I mean, I've seen, it's crazy. Like I would like go to shows and kind of be like, and you think like they're funny, right? And then sometimes they bomb, and oh my God, it is intense. Like you're sitting there and they're just bombing, and it's like,
you walk out slowly, pretend like you don't know them.
You're like,
you're like, bye.
And then
like
you
I'll
leave.
see you at home.
Yeah, like the set is like 5 minutes and you leave and you're like,
oh my God. You're like,
oh my God, that was so bad.
You're like, I can't watch this. I'm sorry. And then they go home and you're like, oh my God, that was so funny.
And they're like, they're like, oh yeah, sometimes, you just never know. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, that alone, is, I've never witnessed that, like, to that extent, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so who was that? No, just give names.
They know.
With Trish.
The people that know.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, it is crazy. It's one of those things where it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, now that's intense. Because.
So, Dream Man, you really don't have, like, a dream man in mind then? You just are kind of going with the flow?
Yeah. I mean.
Okay, whoever God sends you, he sends you?
Yeah. If he wants to send me, like, Joe Magdanello, I'll take it.
Yeah. Millionaire, just,
no.
No?
No. I'm not a designer girly. Like, I'm not into that. Not really.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's, to me, like, I don't know. I think money's great and it's helpful, but I don't need like, the bags and the shoes. And
yeah, I think people think about like money and think, oh, bags and shoes and blah,
that's a lifestyle.
I'm like, well, what about like nice car, nice house, nice, like stuff like that, like food to eat, like nice, like all that stuff costs money.
Yeah, but I'll take like I'll definitely like take like a hardworking, blue collar.
Okay, so there you go. I think that's amazing. A hardworking blue collar man is amazing.
Yeah, I think either way. I think I like somebody that's more on the traditional. Like, I like to think of myself as a traditional female. So I like the traditional male-female roles in a house. Yeah. And so I don't know if those men still exist, because I feel like nowadays it's non-existent. Everybody wants to go 50-50.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
You're like, I don't do that.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, good for you, girl. Don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do that. Yeah. Because I'll do the cooking and I'll do the cleaning and I'll do the laundry. Yeah. And I will let you drive the ship and I will sit in the passenger side. Yeah. But
let me do this. You do that. Yeah.
Go take out the trash. Like, yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think that's definitely what I prefer. And some people don't. Some women like to be, in charge 100%. It's like, I'm in charge of myself right now, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, No, I kind of, Yeah, no, I mean, there's something to be said for that traditional households. Yeah. For sure. I mean, as a mom, you get to be home with the kids. Yeah. You get to take care of them. You get to pick them up from school. You get to see what they're doing. You really get to keep an eye on your children. Yeah. Right? And then as a father, honestly, I just feel like there should be one person in the household.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong.
If you have little kids.
I want to, pursue what I'm pursuing. Yeah. It's like, I want to work, but I don't want to have to work.
Yes. There you go.
I mean? Like, I don't want it to be, a need. Like, if I don't work, the whole building's coming down. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. I do like the man that's going to, really just lead. I am definitely, but again, it is, I always say I'm a traditional, non-traditional, because what I do is not traditional. Yeah. But in the home, it could be traditional. But in this industry, I'm not going to let anybody drive my ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a tough one then. You're a hard,
Yeah, I know. Well,
hard
I
one
mean,
to
there has
please.
to be. I'm very easy to please, you know. So I really am. I'm very low maintenance. I just think like I've learned that in this business specifically, um, a lot of people will view you like people may think I'm a little bit on the weaker side or naive side because I'm a girl and I'm small
Mm-hmm.
and they like want to put me in their like
Uh-huh.
like delicate,
Yeah.
and that is
I don't have that problem.
yeah, but it's like a because
Yeah, no,
people
I
may
get
see
it
you as
though.
powerful, and it's like
Yeah.
um men in the industry, they will try to
Mm-hmm.
they'll try to bulldoze you.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it
Mm-hmm.
happen a lot, even dating people in the industry, like they want to kind of like guide your career or
Mm-hmm.
tell you what
Yeah.
and it's like they're just taking away from whatever you have. And
Yeah.
so
You're like, I got this.
yeah, it's like let
Calm
me
down.
even if I drive into the rock, like let
Mm-hmm.
me drive into the rock so I learn my lesson,
Yeah.
because I feel like that's
So
I
you're
would
stubborn.
rather have I'm an Aries, so but it's like I'd rather have something that's mine
Mm-hmm.
and it's mine and let me fail, but so that I can learn on my own instead of having somebody like take it away from me
Yeah.
and now it's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
They're taking it, and I feel like as women, we have to like keep what's ours, because have you noticed like men in the industry, they gather together,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they'll put each other on,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why you see these large group of men that are all moving
Uh-huh.
collectively
Right.
up
And
in
where
the
are the
industry.
women?
And we're the women.
Mm-hmm. The women are too busy looking each other up and down sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. The women,
yeah.
like, there's just not the same camaraderie that there is with the men. And like I said, like, you can infiltrate as a woman and get in there, but they're not gonna put you on as they would, the male counterpart.
Yeah.
I've just seen
Especially if you're an attractive woman, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
I've
for
had carrots
some reason
dangled where it's like, oh yeah, I have this opportunity, but let's go have a drink.
Yeah. You're like,
No.
I got water at my house.
Yeah, and I don't do that. I don't go have drinks. I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hang out with you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that opportunity is like, you're like, well, what happened to the opportunity?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no.
Oh, never mind. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, it's so hard for women, I feel like, especially if you are obviously, you're a beautiful woman and you're just trying to get taken seriously and they don't want to take you seriously, right? And you're like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
how do you get past that? Again, you make your own space,
Yeah.
right? You create your own.
And you just have to, create your village, right? Your team. And I've never felt like it is more important now than to really create your own little team of people that as a collective they have the same mission, they have the same passion, everybody has the same drive, and very little ego. I can't say no ego, because ego, it exists,
Yeah.
and we all got to have a little bit to be in this industry. In all aspects that you have to have it, but let's like minimize it as much as we can when we're working,
Yeah.
and yeah, you just try to find the best like-minded people that you can.
Yeah. Well, I feel like in the industry, you have to have kind of like an alter ego,
Oh yeah.
right? Like, I mean, here's who you are here, and then you go home and you're like,
Oh yeah, I'm
Them
Adam
looks, right?
Sandler. I always tell people, like,
Yeah.
there's no, like, if I don't have to put makeup on, I'm not
Yeah.
wearing makeup. I live in sweats and baseball caps, and I'm a mess.
yeah,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I go out looking haggard
Yeah.
all the time. People will be like, can I FaceTime you? I'm like, no.
Nope.
No, you cannot.
Nope.
That is unnecessary. Call me.
Yeah.
You can hear my voice. You don't need to see.
Yeah.
It's going to break the illusion instantly. It's
Like-
always bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was one of those girls. I was always ready. I
Yeah.
would not walk out of my house like without full makeup, hair done, everything done. And I was always like, it's because you never, you always
You
get
never
that,
know who you're, yeah.
Yeah, you never know who you're
That's
going to
true,
see.
though.
And you only have one chance to make that first impression,
Yeah.
right? And people honestly treat you better when you
look
look better.
Oh, for
unfortunately.
sure.
I don't know what happened these last couple years, but I'm like, oh well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, I walk out of the house, no makeup, like, I mean, whatever. But I also feel like, you know, there's that inner power too, where it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you're gonna
Yeah.
talk to me and I'm gonna give you a good first impression, regardless of if I have a full like face of makeup or
Oh yeah.
I don't. So if you're, you know, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, I stay local, so I'm not going anywhere in the distance. If I, like,
Yeah.
I'm staying in the little section where the Target. And
Yeah.
the,
You're like, you've seen me before with that.
Yeah, I'm just going to go in, go out, and that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, the industry's hard, you know, and it's
No,
just like,
it is. It's not getting any easier.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any easier. It's only getting harder.
especially for women as
Yeah.
we age, right? We have to fight for our lives. When men just seem to
I
age
know.
gracefully and amazingly, which is great for men. That's amazing. I like love that, you know?
No, they think they're aging gracefully. It's because there's no standard put on them.
You know what? I've never really like, it's true because
Yeah.
men can look any type of way.
Oh yeah, but there's just not a physical standard really.
Yeah.
Because like
That's
I mean, I think I'm
Very true.
funny. Like
Yeah.
I like to think I'm funny.
Mhm.
But I mean, if I'm not attractive, like nobody cares if you're funny. You're not attractive either. And there's you know, like you have to have
something.
the both. Like you have to
You have to have
you know.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
It just where men can just be funny.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, or men can just have money.
Or yeah,
or
men can just have
just do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't really. Yeah, their physical is not as important, obviously,
No.
as it is to a woman for whatever
I
reason.
mean, but
we are the
that's
more
that's
beautiful.
through birth, I think.
Yes.
Like there's just women, like when you're a baby girl, the first thing people will say is like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful.
Mhm.
And all through your life as a young woman from infancy, you'll hear how beautiful you are, how beautiful you are, how beautiful you are. And your mother will dress you to be beautiful. And it becomes this idea that's put in our heads since we're very small. Whereas men gain value when they accomplish things, when they join sports and they start winning, when they well, I mean, really, sports is the first thing that gives somebody a sense of accomplishment, or they have to achieve their value. Where women were kind of born with the value is like being beautiful, so that standard is ingrained in us as children, and the same thing as for men. Like men know, like their value is going to come when they achieve something, right?
Right.
When they're bringing something literally to the table, you know.
Yeah.
So we set the standard since we were little.
Yeah. So how do we fix that? What do we do to raise our girls to not just feel like their beauty is the only thing that they have? What do we do?
I don't know. I think beauty will always be an asset to women.
Absolutely.
So I always tell, you know, I mean, you try to be mindful, but I also like I'm a realist, so I'm raising like a boy and a girl, and I think that definitely beauty is a tool, and it does offer opportunity that we can't deny that. We can try to deny it all we want, but it is true.
Life.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
existent, and we can't, you know, you can be, you know, smart is great. It is a good backup to being beautiful, because you can have beauty and smarts, but people will always look at you first in the physical.
Right.
And I mean, even that opens doors for so many people, you know, so.
Might not be fair, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely not fair. But the same thing for men. Like, I'm raising a man to be a man, and to be a gentleman, and to be functional as a man too. Like, you better hold that door open for all the women when they come out of the store. Like, you know, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna help me fix stuff? Are you gonna get up? Are you gonna, you know, like, he's handsome, but I don't say like, you're handsome, so that's it. Like, you got it. You know, like, you gotta teach him what you know, the society sees as value in men.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, I think my son, I tell him he's gorgeous every day of his life.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't help it. I'm like, oh
yeah.
my God, you're so gorgeous. You're the cutest little guy. You know,
that's me too.
Whatever,
And my
right?
Like, oh, okay,
So,
whatever, Mom.
But we keep on, oh my God, you know, for me, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you're so amazing. You're so this, you're so that. But we do teach him how to, you know, his looks obviously are not only what he has, you know. So I'm like, do this, come help your mom, come do this, you know, and he's getting older now. So he's only 6, but he's getting
Oh,
older.
he's a baby.
Yes, he's a baby, and that's my baby. But now I'm giving him a little bit of responsibility. You know, I'm like, hey, when you see me holding something, I need you to help me out. If you see that I'm struggling a little bit, you should always try to help me. And so all I had to do was tell him that like just 2 times.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's like, here, Mom, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the cutest thing, because he's like, here, like, let me hold that for you. Let me do this for you.
Wait till they get a little older.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Is
No,
that a good thing or is that a bad
no.
thing? Oh, don't.
Then it's like pulling teeth. Like, remember?
Really?
Just like, don't you remember when we used to like, you used to always want to cuddle? And it's like, just like this, the words coming out of my mouth are disgusting to him. Like, how dare you say that?
Don't break my heart.
People can hear you, Mom.
Yeah.
There are guys in my presence. Like, please
like,
don't humiliate. Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I can't. When did that start for you?
Like 10, 11. Oh, he's 11. So like he's
just like now it started?
Yeah. Oh, it's intense now. Now forget it.
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
he's like texting me from the room. Like,
boy, get out here.
Get up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if he's around his uncles and stuff, and it's like, no hug, no anything when we're alone. It's like, I love you, Mom.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
in private.
You're like, boy, don't be one of those.
I know, but it's like, you know.
You're like, express your love.
Well, you know what? He's being his little man self.
Yeah,
and,
I guess you gotta.
You know, his dad is like very much like a masculine man.
Uh-huh.
So that's good. I like that. I think that's a good quality to have. I think we need to create more masculine men.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean.
So I'm all for it.
Yeah, like my son, he fishes, he does all the outdoorsy things, you know. I'm like, a man, like, I don't know. I mean, they should be able to build something.
Right? Like, put something together.
Put something together.
Yeah.
Like sorry if you don't know how to build, like, you're okay too. But I'm just, you know, like,
I know.
I just
no,
feel
it's
like,
rough because, like, my ex-husband, he's a carpenter.
Okay.
And so, like.
Why is he your ex? No, just kidding.
That's a whole other story. But he was a carpenter. He can literally build a house from scratch.
Yeah.
And then, like, 2 boyfriends after, it's like they can't do anything, and it's like
they're plucking their eyebrows.
Oh no, never.
Again,
I draw
okay
the line. At,
yeah,
like ultra, but it's like just the idea of like, what do you mean you can't like, you know, change the brakes on my car?
Yeah,
if like, what do you mean you can't?
No,
you know. Build the add-on, add-on to my garage. What are you talking about? Let's hire somebody.
Yeah, you're like, boy, okay.
Yeah, what do you mean? Can you borrow my drill? Like,
okay,
don't
so
you have one of your own?
You're making the money, and then you can hire people on.
For sure.
That's kind of okay, but you should really know how to do it just in case.
Yeah, like.
Right? I mean, you got to know how to do something.
Something.
Yeah, I guess it's like
hang up pictures.
I guess it's like, you know, it's those roles though. Again, it's like, you know, women should know how to cook. A lot of women don't know how to cook, but then. Okay, then I mean, what do? You buy it, but then I guess you better make the money to buy it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of, that money's coming out of somewhere. I mean, I just think, you know, when I look at my son, I think like the kind of man I would like him to be is definitely the leader of the house.
Yes.
I never want him to ask a girlfriend to split the check. Oh, that would like my heart would break inside.
Yeah.
Like this. Pick a girl up, like buy her some flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to teach my son little things, you know,
yeah.
like that. And hold the door open. He's
sure.
a little guy in a household of women. I mean, I have 4 daughters, and then there's my little guy, and he's the baby.
Yeah.
And so he's raised by very different personalities, you know. And we all give him like a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so I feel like one's like, oh, don't do this and don't do that, and the other one's like, no, you gotta do that. Like, oh my God, you know, because all my girls are different.
Different, exactly.
But that's why he's gonna be the perfect man.
Right? He's gonna go insane, right?
He's gonna... no, and I will never like look. Because there's some moms out there that are like, oh, my son can do no wrong. Oh, you know.
Oh,
it's like, no, that's the worst. That's like just such a disservice. Oh, yeah. My son will know when he is wrong.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
My kids, even my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, we don't have that diva, you know, that attitude. That goes out the door. Like,
Yeah.
Don't do that. Not with me. Not with your dad. She tries, you know.
Uh-huh.
She'll be like, oh, like I hear on the phone when her dad calls, oh, daddy. I'm like, oh, all of a sudden, dada,
Yeah.
papa.
You're like, what, girl?
Yeah.
She already knows how to get what she wants.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
When she was like 4, my son was playing soccer, and you know all the little boys were on the field, and she'd run out in the field and pretend like she fell down, and would like reach her arm out so like a little boy would help her up.
Yeah.
And then she would grab that hand and like hold on to it.
Stop.
Yeah. I'd be like, where the? And everyone's looking at me. I'm like, I don't do that.
You're like,
I'm
that's
not like
natural.
hitting a car and be like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Oops. Come here, hold my hand.
Oops. Can
Yeah.
you fix that?
You know, it's probably just natural. Like women, sometimes they have that natural, you know, instinct or whatever, and men have their natural ways, and it is what it is. You can't change it. You can't change it. Yeah, so you just got to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah.
I raised 4 girls, and they're all so different, you know. But we did, like, my daughters are, you know, I mean, I'm their mother, but I'm gonna just say, like, they're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And they were raised very, like, it's funny because we didn't give them those like, oh, you're so beautiful, and that's, you know, it was always like they were in sports. They're almost kind of raised like boys, I feel like, if that's, you know.
Yeah.
And they're really strong girls. Every single one of them stands very strong.
Yeah.
And you know, and their beauty is like, obviously it's the first thing you see.
Yeah.
But then you just can't, like, you can't get over on them.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't. And we raise them in that way to, you know, obviously be strong and do what probably we would have done with the son, because now I finally have my son, and I'm like, I'm kind of raising him the same way.
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Yeah, there's just a way to raise strong people in general, I guess,
Yeah.
and just to be good people, right? And so that's like the main thing, is treat people right.
Oh, definitely.
And, you
I
know,
mean,
have a standard.
She definitely, my daughter is, you know, she wants to be an actress, a YouTuber. You know, she does musical theater, so she does her own little things, and you know, she wants to kind of be like me, but she is so different from me. She's already like, you know, up to here. She's 8, so she's gonna be really tall. She's definitely like a larger girl, so she's like just larger framed in general. Yeah, and I'm just a smaller girl. Like I'm smaller. And so, you know, there is always a battle of like when you're raising a young girl, they look up to you and they want to look like you. And when they don't look like you, they wonder like, well, why don't I look like you? Yeah. You know, like, and that's hard. Like, that's hard to navigate, you know, because I mean, there are, like we talked about, beauty standards, and within the industry, I mean, there is a lot of, you know, unrealistic standards that we feel like we have to meet. And I try not to like project that, you know, onto my daughter. But sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. Like, you know, my obsession with like, you know, being thin or whatever, like, you know, maybe me saying like, oh, I'm so fat. And she probably looks at me and she's like, well, if you're fat, if you think you're fat, like, what am I?
Oh, yeah.
You know? And she's 8. Yeah. And she'll be like, you know, I'll be like, I get on the, you know, it's bad habits that I've acquired. Like, look, you don't come in the industry, be judged for, you know, since I'm like 18 to my 30s without getting a little, you know, trauma in there. Like, it's just natural. Like, I get on the scale every morning. Yeah. And I check my weight. Yeah. And, you know, you try to not do those things, but they see, and they, you know, and so now it's like, oh, like, we got to eat, you know, like, she'll like say things that I say, you know, like, oh, we got to work out, or like, you know, we got to eat healthy. We got to eat, you know, and she doesn't realize it yet, but as they get older, you know, like, it's just it's like to be mindful, but it's also like ingrained in us. Like,
it's our own stuff, right, that we battle all the time. And then, I mean, going back to what our standard of beauty was growing up, were these stars that were
Thin.
perfect.
Oh, and they were
Yeah.
so thin.
And so thin. I was never that.
Oh,
You
me
know,
either.
there was no way. So what I thought was beautiful, I was like, oh, I guess I'm just not ever gonna be that. I'm just not
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was one of those things. And then, I had all my daughters really young. And so I was always like, oh my God, look at, just
Yeah.
always so down on yourself because you don't look like that supermodel.
Oh, for sure.
And somehow, I mean, my daughters, I'm sure they saw, but I would
Yeah.
exercise. I would exercise with them. I had 4, so it was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't just
Yeah.
have time for myself. So I would, exercise with them.
Yeah.
And then I would catch myself saying like, hey, don't eat that.
Yeah.
Or,
Right? Like you just it's one of those things, but it's really hard because you don't want them to have to deal with the opposite of that. Because it's people are mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are real vicious.
Yes.
And so like it is a weird place, and I think when you're in the industry it's just amplified. I don't try to be like, that's why like when I'm home I try to just be as whatever as possible.
Right.
Like I try, and I'm very mindful even down to like the outfits that she sees me
Okay.
in.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm going somewhere and I'm, like, I mean, I like to dress a certain way. Doesn't mean like I want her to see me dressed like that
Right.
because she's 8 and I don't want her to
So
feel
impressionable. Yes.
Yeah, so like I'll put a sweater on over, and then I'll drop them off if it's, with my mom or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'll
Go
come home and get
change.
changed. Yeah, but because like she is looking at me and I'm her
Yeah.
first example
Yeah.
of, what she
agree.
wants to look like and be like, and
Yeah.
that's a lot.
I agree.
That is a huge weight when you're
Yes.
raising a young woman
Yeah,
in
I
today's
agree.
world.
100%. I was always very mindful of just what I said, what I did, because they're not going to, half the time the kids are not going to listen.
Yeah,
They're going to watch and they're going to emulate,
exactly.
And so, yeah, I was always like very cautious.
Yeah.
And I think it pays off. I think
Yeah.
it does pay off because they're going to do what you do a lot of the times,
For sure.
And not, they're kids. They're not gonna just
Yeah.
listen,
No, they want to be like you.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
now all my daughters are older, and so it's like, oh, I do what the heck I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't have to not wear that, or I don't have to not
But
do this
before it
because
was
they're
like
already...
we just had the examples of like around us. Now, like they're just like nonstop.
Yeah. That's hard.
Scrolling, and everybody's, popping off because they look like a certain way, or and those dances. Oh, my daughter be like, I'm like,
Like you're
oh
8,
no, yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
that butt down.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fun raising girls.
I know.
Right?
It's
like
not
there's
stressful at
yeah,
all.
not at all.
The pressure's not on.
Yeah,
The weight.
not at all. But you know what though, they grow up so fast. You obviously like you already have an 11-year-old, but
Yeah.
they grow up so fast, and then all of a sudden you have these like adults, and it's pretty amazing actually.
Yeah.
Like it's
I'm
one
just
of
like
those
don't want to
things.
go through the middle part.
Oh yeah, good luck.
Yeah, definitely.
Been there,
don't
done
want
that.
to do that.
Yeah, no, actually I have to do it again. I better shut up.
Yeah.
I still got one more to go. Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. Just hold your ground, That's what
I know.
My advice to you is just hold your ground.
But they're also like my biggest cheerleaders. They're my number one fans in anything I do. And, that's the ultimate goal, is like to have them be a part of something that I accomplish on my own, and they can, go to a showing or go to the theaters and see their mom.
Yeah.
And, I think it's more, I mean, it feeds me because then it makes it feel like all the sacrifice isn't for anything. It meant something,
Right. I mean,
because,
ultimately you're doing this for what?
well, I think ultimately we do it for ourselves. I know people say like, oh, we do it for but really, like, if I was doing it solely, and I feel like this is just the truth, if I was doing it solely for them, I would go and get a 9-to-5 job. I have a lot of training. I used to work for attorneys. I used to be a paralegal. I could do that, and then that I feel is solely for the purpose of like having them and having a 9-to-5 and having that set paycheck.
Yeah.
But really, the selfish part that is like me, that is like, I'm doing this for me and hoping that it benefits them, right? Because I mean, people are like, oh, I'm doing this. It's like, are you? Because there's other options that are more secure when you have children.
Very true.
But like at the end of the day, like I know, like it's a selfish business, you know. And I am doing this for me. I'm doing this for me. This is my dream, and you know, and I work very hard to also, you know, have other sources of income so that they do live well.
Right.
But you know, I mean, but there are sacrifices that have to be made when you're pursuing something with no guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I can't say like it's solely for them.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you're honest. Hey.
It's really
not everybody is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I could just go out and work a 9 to 5 and have that paycheck and then, you know, not have to worry about that.
Is this something that you always wanted to do growing up? Did you always want to be an actor, or was that like always in your sights?
I mean, yeah, kind of. Like since I was little, I always wanted to be in entertainment. I didn't know in what aspect. I mean, I used to dance. I used to like write songs, but I can't sing. I used to, you know, I used to do acting and everything, and I just knew like I wanted to entertain.
Yeah. So you just knew it. That was.
And everything else, and I've worked in so many businesses, and I've had a lot of opportunities like in business and great opportunities. People would be like, how the hell did you get that job? And I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just got it. You know, I was like working at law firms, and I was like opening restaurants. I used to open restaurants all over LA. Yeah.
What do you mean open restaurants?
I worked for a restaurant design company. Okay. And I would like expedite permits, and we'd like
you did the fun part.
Yeah. But they put me in there because I'd go in the city, and I was this girl, and I'd be like, sign this, please, you know. And, and I had no experience. I had no experience in law when I got into my first law firm in Beverly Hills, and you know, and those are great jobs, and those are great careers. Yeah. And 6 months later, I was like dying inside. Oh yeah. You know, I was like, I can't. It's like, this isn't for me.
Creativity. Yeah. Trying to escape.
Yeah. It literally felt like death. Like it was like and I would like leave. Yeah,
it's hard to. Yeah. I'm creative myself, and so I've always had to create my own space, you know, and different things, and so it's hard to just sit there and. I mean, nothing against those people that can do those 9 to 5s. Oh no, that's that's amazing. That's a way. It sure is.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know how people. Yeah. I see like my mom do it. My brother does it. My older brother does it. They, you know, my mom's worked for the same company for like over 20 years. And I'm just like,
Yeah. And it's funny because I say like, oh, I can't imagine 9 to 5, but I've been an entrepreneur for the most of my life. And like I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So with that, it's like 24/7. Yeah. You know, it's
but
one of
those
things.
But I kind of like I like to the chaos. Like when there's
I'm
no
like,
chaos, I'm so sad. I'm like, you know, I'm so bored. Yes. I actually like get sadder, and like I'm like, oh my god.
You're like, I need
to do something. Yes, like I'd rather have 20 things in one day and be all over the place than like one thing, and then I'm just
you're like, what's next?
Yeah, like, I finished. I don't want to do this one thing anymore. Yeah, I need to have like a lot of things.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's just the creative part of us that needs that. It is, and that chaos sometimes comes with it. I mean, like I much rather too. Like I want to be busy, but there's a difference, you know, between being busy and being productive, because you can be busy all day long and not get nothing done. Oh yeah. You know, and so I think that's where people...
Like you could push the dirt around and never, you know.
I think that's where people have to figure that part out. Yeah. And I'm still figuring that part out.
No, it is, because I think so many people want to grow so quickly. Yeah, they think by having their hand in every single pot that it's going to create something, but it's like, well, no, because you're only giving like 10, 10, 10, 10. Yeah. Yeah. And now you have 10 of a lot of things. Yes. And
that's one thing I'm trying to scale back on right now, because for a long time I was doing everything. I mean, there were so many things to do. Yeah. And at one point, some of them were panning out, you know, like a few of them at a time. Yeah. Which is an amazing thing to have happen, because that doesn't happen to everybody, right? Definitely. So all of a sudden you're like, okay, my hands and everything, and like 10 of them are working. Like, this is amazing. But then, you know, it gets tiring too. And you're like, maybe I should just focus. Yeah,
focus. And like that one thing's going to hit its plateau. And what you need to do to get it to go to the next level is dive in all the way,
Yeah.
but you have all these other
Yep.
things. So it's
Absolutely.
like, how do I
Yeah.
take away from everything
Yeah.
else?
Figuring that out
It is.
as we speak.
But it's hard because they expect you to do everything, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's true. And now, people go, she does everything.
Yeah, right.
you're
They're
like-
like, well, what do you
you're
do?
like,
Well,
Yeah, you're
what
like,
don't I
no.
do?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's one of my things. I'm like, it's easier to tell you what I don't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of like what I do. Yeah, so it's hard, but we grow as we get, we figure it out,
Hopefully.
and we'll figure it
Yeah.
out. It's part of growing.
We may never figure it out.
No, you know what? I don't think we ever will.
I mean, all these years, I can't ever say I figured anything out.
Yeah.
I think everything just goes, and then how it goes is how it goes, and
I mean,
I haven't figured out relationships. I haven't figured out my career. I haven't figured out.
yeah, I mean, what happens when we figure it out? We
You
just
die.
die.
Right?
I don't
It's
know.
over.
Like, it's just over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I've-
that's life.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
forever.
you'll figure it out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm waiting to figure out stuff. It's not figuring.
Yeah. No,
Because I think it's ever evolving. Like, you may
Absolutely.
think you figured out, but it'll change tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. And it's
Yeah.
finding that, like, that new balance all the time.
Yeah.
For me, like, in my life, it was like, I always felt like, God, as soon as I got something down.
Yeah, then it's like
It
something
was,
else.
Yeah.
Always something.
Changed.
Right? We always say, it's always something.
It's always something. It would just change on me. And
Yeah.
I go, damn it, I just
had
figured
it.
that
Yeah.
out. Like, God,
They're like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I know. Like, kids get older, or something happens
Yeah.
here, something happens there, and you're like, damn.
Yeah, I don't think we're meant to figure
Yeah, I don't-
it out. I
don't
think
think so
it's
either.
just,
Yeah.
you just got to keep going.
Yeah, and try to get the most out of life, right? And
Definitely.
try to reach your goals and take care of your people and just enjoy to some capacity,
What comes
whatever.
your way?
Yeah,
Enjoy
yeah.
it when it's there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, and for me, it's like, just try to be grateful even in the craziest of times, because
Definitely.
sometimes things can get crazy and you're like, okay, God's teaching me a lesson. Let me just figure this one out.
Definitely.
Because, obviously when you go through things, you come out differently.
Yeah.
And hopefully stronger and better. And so, you just never lose with
Yeah,
that mentality.
for sure.
You just don't lose. You're just, you're getting stronger. You're getting better. You learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, I think people, it's just your perspective. We always
Definitely.
We always have to keep that positivity somehow,
Yeah.
where it can be kept, because sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, I'm
right?
not positive all the time.
Yeah, no.
No.
Me
No,
neither.
I'm a realist. And so that's, people like to say that I'm a pessimist. I'm like, no, I'm a realist.
Yeah, I'm an optimist.
Are you? I
I'm
can
one of
feel
those.
that. I can
Yeah.
feel that energy from
Yeah,
you.
I'm one of those. I'm like, I had to work out.
And I'm
Just
like,
let's do it
and then
anyway.
I'm going to be the friend that's like, are you sure?
Yeah, and I'm
'Cause
gonna be like,
this.
yeah, and I'm gonna be like, girl, stop. You'll never do
Yeah.
it. Just get it done. Let's go. Jump.
I am a realist, and yeah, definitely. Especially like I said, like when there's so much rejection in this business, it is so hard to keep going. But you just find your, like I said, it's like that's why it's so important to have your people. Like, Jeff. I've known him since I was like 19, and he's one of my people. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know how many times he's like talked me off the ledge, and I'm like, I just want to quit. What am I doing with my life?
I just said that today, actually.
Right? It's like, what am I doing? Am I
quit.
doing something?
Yeah.
Is this happening? Or like,
Yeah.
am I being stupid? Like,
Yeah.
am I being unrealistic?
Yeah.
And then it's like, somebody has to come and be like,
Yeah.
get it together.
Yeah.
You've already done it for this long. Why are you going to go back now?
Yeah. I think we all go through that.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. If you say you don't go through it, you're probably lying. I mean, I'm sorry.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, we can't be positive all the time.
Yeah.
But you can try your best, and you can wake up and go, I'm going to have a good day today.
Yeah.
Right? I've been having to do that.
Yeah.
And it works.
Tell yourself.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? Today,
Like, that's
Like,
today's going to be.
I'm going to have a good day.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to piss me off. And we're going to be good today. Right?
For sure.
And then when things come your way, you're like, Satan, not today.
Right? I
You're
said I'm having a good day.
I'm having a good day today. Like, no. Yeah, it's all about, like, we have control over our own
Definitely.
emotions, right? And what we can do during the day. And so once we can control that, our own behavior, I think everything else kind of is like, you kind of like bat things away. Like,
Yeah.
you're good. No.
And if
That's
all
not
else
here.
fails, just cry in the shower.
Yep.
Like an adult.
Like an
Don't go
adult
on
does.
social media and record yourself. Just go and take a shower.
Yeah, there you go.
Cry.
Yeah, don't cry on social media.
In
Yeah.
private.
Yeah, in private. There you go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
let the shower wash away the pain of the day.
It'll go away.
And then you
Nice
get
hot
out
water.
and you're like,
yeah.
all right.
Something about that hot
Right?
shower water just works.
And you like when you come out and you look ugly because like you have your mascara, but it's like you feel good.
Yeah, go baptize yourself in the shower.
You're like,
go baptize yourself again. Yeah.
Release.
So, okay, you're on this podcast. Mm-hmm. You had a podcast at one point, yes?
I did.
And no longer? Is it no longer going?
No. It was really good. Like it was during COVID.
Okay.
It's really what kind of got me. It was right when I was like getting separated.
Okay.
And I was like, what am I gonna do to like get myself back out being a creative, right? It's like, what am I gonna do? And I've always been a talker. I'm very transparent. I'm very open. So I was like, I'm gonna do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who was going through such a hard time, and you know, me and her had been friends for 15 years plus. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah, that's some tea. We'll get to that in a minute.
But I was like, come do this podcast. I'll do everything. I'll record it. I'll edit it. I'll figure it out. And it was actually really like within the first month or 2 months, we were getting like over 1,000 views.
Wow.
Like we had subscribers, we had people like reaching out to us to, you know, do events. And then we did like 2 seasons, and we had I mean, it was just moving quickly.
Yeah.
And there's something about chemistry, right? I think when you have the right chemistry and the right setup, and it like you said, it's like magic sometimes. Like sometimes things just hit and you're like, this is good. But you cannot make somebody have the same drive that you have. You cannot have I could not make somebody understand, like, there's no instant gratification. Like, this is work.
Yeah.
It's going to take work, and you're not going to be famous overnight. If you're trying to be famous, like, this is not it. And if you're not going to be transparent, then maybe don't do a podcast. Like, if we're talking about our lives and you only want to talk about good stuff, like, you know.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of that. And, I mean, I literally did everything. This person just had to show up and record. And they couldn't, you know, they couldn't follow through. And so it just kind of died, and I tried to find another person to replace that, but it's like you can't like force something that was so natural and what brought people in, and then like to kind of like hit again.
Yeah, what a shame.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot of work.
It is so much work, but it was really good. I mean, we got so much good feedback, and you know, like it was just crazy, the response that we got. And we started like going out and doing kind of like a simple life, kind of like a Nicole Richie, Paris Hilton thing. Yeah. So we would go to like businesses, like we took a self-defense class, and we like fought each other, and then we did like a burlesque class, and my friend taught us a dance, and the whole time it's like us obviously talking shit to each other,
right,
bantering, making fun of each other.
Okay, so was that what the show was kind of about? Was you guys kind of just all the time like we picking on each other?
Like we would just talk, like two girlfriends talking, but knowing somebody for 15 years, like, you know all my stuff, I know all your stuff. So we know what picks at each other. And that wasn't even the demise. I think it was just the lack, like, that just wasn't what she wanted to do. Yeah. And so
maybe you were hurting her feelings.
I mean, I'm pretty tough.
Maybe you were too mean.
But she, like 15 years, like she knows. Think? And she would say
maybe
stuff.
She didn't want to hear it.
Oh, she was going to hear it on or off the camera.
Whose fault was it?
But it was more of like, she wanted it. She thought it was going to move. Yeah. And she was going to get something instantly from it. And she wasn't willing to put in the work. And it takes a lot of work. You have to you got to show up out of it. Like the way you say, you got to market yourself. You got to show up. You got to be available. It just wasn't what she wanted to do. Yeah. And so,
How long did you do it for?
Oh, I don't know. We did like, I think at least 2 seasons, but consistently, like we would take a couple months off, so maybe like a full year, and we divided the year into like 2 little seasons. But I mean, we were getting, 3K, 4K views off of just within a year. So it was really like what it could have been down the line.
Right.
And
man, some people just don't have the,
they don't. It's not their vision. I don't know. Yeah. And I can't force somebody to, be a part of only my vision.
Right.
It has to be both.
Would you ever think of just starting your own podcast, just solo?
I did try, but I mean, between working, the kids, and just really trying to focus on acting.
Yeah.
I mean, doing all the editing myself, all the recording.
Yeah. Oh, that's not hard.
I mean, sometimes I feel like load. Why isn't this loading?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not super tech savvy either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I built a studio in my garage, so it's not something that I wouldn't do again. But I think it's just finding the right team, the right connection, the right flow, and also like what is it that you want to do? Like we didn't have really guests. We would just sit and talk amongst each other. Yeah. And then what I wanted to do was do like a Patreon, and that's where you would be able to see like when we go out and like interact and like do fun activities and have guests. Like we had a girl when OnlyFans had first started, and she came on and she told us like all the stuff that we had questions and we were like, oh my god, but it's like that's when it just came out, and it was such a thing. And we did a bartending class, so and it was all like it was like highlighting that also these are all Latinos, like Latino self-defense class. Yeah. The burlesque dancer, she was from Brazil, and she came over here. The people that ran the bartending school academy were Latinos. Yeah. And so,
sounds like so much fun. Like what you need to hold your own casting call.
I know. It's hard because I'm like, you got to be people. There's a difference between being able to sit and talk and then people just feeling like they need to say everything because they think just saying everything is what it takes to like have a podcast. It's like you don't need to say everything. Like
you're like
save some of that. Save some of that for the rest of the seasons, girl. Don't just sit there and spill your whole life out.
So it was like a venting.
Yeah. So there has to be a flow, a give and take, and I think a lot of people, they don't have it. Yeah.
What was your show called?
Adulting in the Wild.
Okay. So now when you start the next one, what would the next one be called?
I don't know. Adulting in the Wild.
Adulting in the Wild part
again.
2. Again. Adulting in the Wild again. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But you can still see like the old videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm
like
gonna go look.
Go check it out. They're long, but I mean, like I said, it was really a good experience, I think.
Yeah. I'll go watch. As soon as I start watching mine, I'll go watch.
Right? Just loop it in.
Yeah. Did you watch yours though? Did you like go back and always like? Well, obviously you did the editing.
Yeah, I edited, so I had to.
Yeah. See, that's still a hard thing for me. I'm still trying to just watch.
Yeah.
I feel like I just do it, and I'm like, whatever it is.
You're
whatever
like,
happens,
I was there. I was there.
Yeah, I was there. I knew what happened.
I know what they said.
So, but there's been advice that like watch it, and I'm like. I will try because I respect people's, the people that have given me that advice.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
I think the thing about watching yourself is you can see how you speak. One.
I can hear myself now.
But like when you like watch it and you realize how many times you say and like and like and like and like and you're like, oh my god.
I know exactly what I say.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm trying to fix that.
Yeah, so it's little things like that when you watch yourself. The hardest part was always like, oh my god, do I sound that annoying? Like I hear my voice and I'm like, oh my god. Yeah. Is that what I sound like?
Yeah. Well, everybody feels like that. Doesn't everybody? Like I've never heard anybody say, oh my god, that's my voice.
That sounds so good.
So good.
So sexy. So sexy.
Yeah. I didn't know I sounded like that.
I sound so squeaky. I always think like I'm like, ah.
No, I don't even know what I sound like. Like people can comment and tell me what I sound like. It's okay.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I've never heard anybody say how lovely they sound.
No, but it is very I think the only way to get better is just to really look at yourself, be honest, and be like, okay, like I need to you know, one of the things that when interacting with her is that we would talk over each other. And, you know, they would be like, oh my God, she's always talking over you. She's always trying to talk over, like, she doesn't like. And so it's really looking at yourself and really being subjective and not just saying like, okay, well, I think it's like, no, I need to, if I want to get better, like I need to maybe, you know, work on like my segments. Like I would create all the segments. So I would like kind of list out like all the topics I wanted to talk about and then like key points so that I could help myself like move along. Because when I'm a talker, like I will just ramble off into like little, you know, stories here and there. And then you're like, well, wait, what was I talking about? Like, what were we talking about?
No, you've done good. You like, I'm following.
Yeah. Well, because this is, you're leading the ship. So let me lead my own ship. And I'm like going left, going right.
Oh, got it.
You know, when I'm just like, when I get in the space of talking, like I can talk. Yeah. So,
no,
but
well,
it's
thank God.
very learning. You know, it's learning. But I also allow for the space, like, you know, if I'm a guest, then I don't like overstep that and be like,
right.
So what do you feel?
I'm like, oh, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Yeah, no, you've done. Yeah, you're good. These are my favorite. You're my favorite kind of guest.
Yeah.
You know, because I ask you a question, and you don't shut up. No,
yeah, right. Well, some people you're like pulling teeth, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
my God. Yeah, I've had.
And
You
they're
ask,
like,
yes.
yeah.
You're like, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What's
Yeah,
next?
well,
Let me
okay.
think.
Yeah. And then you have those moments you see where you're like,
yeah, and you're like, I
silence.
quit.
You're like,
I quit.
Oh my God.
Why am I doing this again? No.
Say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say something,
Say
please.
something. Please.
Yeah, exactly.
Awkward.
So maybe another podcast eventually.
Maybe. I think anything I do now, I'm definitely going to do with a team. I think I've just learned, like, as much as I like to be in charge, I cannot do everything.
Yeah,
And
that's for sure.
Yeah, it's exhausting, and then I also feel like it just, the quality ends up lacking. And if it's only through my perspective all the time, I mean, that's a little biased because, of course, like, you know, I need to have the opinions of people I respect and be able to tell me, like, it could be better like this. Yeah. And if I respect them, I'm going to take that opinion. Yeah. But if it's only me judging me, looking at me, and I'm editing
like,
me, and I'm like, I'm on
always
fire, girl.
I'm always good. I'm always
I look
right.
good.
Yeah.
More of me. Raise the volume on me.
You're
you
like,
know?
this podcast is called All About Me.
Right?
Always being right.
Oh, I did do like a second podcast, like when I tried it, and it was called It's You, Not Me.
Oh, that's a great name.
Yeah. So that was my second podcast called It's You, Not Me.
It's You,
and
Not
it was
Me.
Me.
Was that a dig at the at the other?
No, it's a dig on everybody. It's definitely not me.
Yeah, it was definitely not me.
Not me.
Oh my
but
goodness.
I've thought
that's
about
amazing.
it, and I have, you know, ideas of other names if podcasting is something that I ever wanted to jump back into. Yeah.
You did enjoy it though.
Yeah, I mean, I like interacting. I like talking. I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always.
Always.
I'm never short of opinions.
Here's what I feel like. I feel like it's a great networking tool too, right? Because instead of having to go out and get all dressed up and do all these things and go mingle and go like, you know, it's like people come to you. Yeah. And you get this one-on-one time and you talk and you, because we could have been in many rooms together and maybe not have seen each other or you know, ever met, right? But you come to the podcast and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I was there with you too. Oh, I went to that event or, you know, so I feel like it's a great tool. Podcasts are amazing. Like you get to meet people.
Yeah, definitely. Know? I mean, I think it is a saturated field. So you have to figure out like what is going to set you apart from everybody else. Yeah. But when you get it and you, like I said, you create that magic, like you're gonna hit like consistency and just like really thinking like outside of the box, right? Because there's so much competition. Yeah, consistency is definitely what I hear is the key. Yeah, in everything, right? Yes. And discipline, which I lack. And then thinking outside of the box, right? We tried to get Coco on the show today. It didn't work. I don't know. But hey, we tried. We tried to have a little Yorkie co-host. And she was not having it. 20 minutes in, she's like, I'm over this. She quit. Yeah. So, you know, that's what happens when you try to think out of the box. Yeah, the Coco show. No, girl. You'll get kicked out. You should just have, like, her with a little headphone and then have, like, other people bring their dogs. Imagine. I bet it
I
would
don't
be
know
like the
about that.
number one show. I bet it because people are obsessed with animals.
I know.
You
Why
heard
do you
it,
think we
you
try to
heard
put
it
Coco
here
on the show?
first, guys. When
Yeah.
you see the
When you
Coco
see me
show,
doing
you're
it.
gonna know where it came from. When you see that little dog with a
Yeah.
headset.
Oh my God, yeah. No, we tried, and Coco got fired within like 20
You
minutes.
like put them in a little thing, have like two little dog, like little dog foods, like their little tea. I bet.
little
Watch,
tea?
girl. Watch. Like I see the wheels moving. You're like,
I'm
you
like-
got a dog? You got a.
Yeah, exactly.
I do.
You know,
I'm telling you.
the guests can come on, bring their little dogs.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they could do whatever.
Exactly.
But the only thing is, they can't do it on my white carpet.
No, you gotta
So that's
protect
something.
that.
I'm gonna have to get
But
something
I'm
else.
telling you, it's like having those little things that like bring in
Yeah,
that other
that's
part of the
crazy.
audience, right?
Right? Yeah.
Because people may not like feel your vibe, but they love animals, so
Yeah,
they'll watch
they're
just
just
to
gonna
see what that
watch.
dog's gonna do.
Yeah. Like,
Maybe the dog shits in the middle
yeah,
of the thing, and
like,
they're
love
like,
it.
"Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God, watch again.
Yeah, watch
share,
again.
share. Yeah.
Now it's a meme, and
yes,
you're, you know,
go viral because Coco shit on my carpet. Like,
exactly.
Oh my God.
Like we're in the middle of an interview.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, there's it
if
is-
that girl can like make that spit sound, and she has it on her, I mean.
It's like, what can we do to like?
If I
make
spit
this
right
happen?
now, like, will you guys
Yeah.
make me?
Yeah, exactly. Pay me.
Yeah.
What can I do?
I can
Yeah,
hawk
it's
to
wild.
it too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, no, this industry can be a little crazy, but you know, you got to be cut out for it, right? And
Yeah.
it is what it is. So if you weren't doing this,
Mm-hmm.
what would you be doing? What do you see yourself doing?
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's nothing else.
No,
so you
there's
just
no
can never
plan
quit.
B. It's like,
Yeah. You just got to keep going.
or I guess marry rich.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true too.
that's
But he better know how to build a house too.
right.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
I don't know what else I'm like, I can't do anything else.
You're like, I don't want to do nothing.
I don't want to do anything else except
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah, be
So-
rich, and then he can build you your own
So like other
company
option
and-
is nothing, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you better just never stop.
Yeah. I mean, people
keep
ask,
going.
and it's like I literally cannot see myself
Wow.
doing anything
So
else.
then you're where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know,
I've tried.
and that's a great place to be when
Yeah,
you're where you're
hopefully.
supposed to be. No, I mean, because I don't feel like you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no plan B. So you're like, you're never gonna quit.
Yeah.
You're just gonna do until you make it. When you make it.
You have
know?
to.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
it.
the
And that's
more
what
that
you're
you
gonna
doubt
do.
yourself,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you create things that you think like you could do, right? That's
Yeah,
how you get
for
stuck.
sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't commit to any job. Like
Yeah.
they try to like have me move up in jobs, and I'm like, no. No,
You're like,
no.
nah, I'm not staying.
I'm like, I'm gonna be here
Yeah.
for long, and then
I'm
like
not staying.
10 years later, I'm
Yeah. I'm not staying. It's
I'm
okay.
still here.
Yeah. So, any projects that you have coming up? Tell me.
I'm working on my own project right now.
Mhm.
So
Can you tell us what it's called? What's the
No,
do you
it's
have-
a
Oh,
secret.
dang
You're
it!
gonna
I'm gonna
have
have
to
to have you
copyright
back.
it.
Oh,
I can't have people stealing my ideas
Yeah.
out there.
darn it.
But I'm working on my own project, and there's some other projects that, other people want me to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And just going through every day,
Yeah.
waiting, auditioning,
Yeah,
doing
going
castings,
through the motions. Uh-huh.
and just trying to create that space, and whatever form that comes in,
Mm-hmm.
who knows?
I
Day
think
by
you
day.
know. I think
I'm
you know.
hoping.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna hit though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's all you need to know.
It's gonna hit. Watch.
It's happening.
It's gonna happen with this project.
Yeah. Where do you hope to
One
see
of them.
yourself in the next 5 years?
Oh no, I can't think 5 years from now.
Okay, 2 years.
I can't think 2 years from
Tomorrow.
now. Tomorrow. What's tomorrow?
She's like, I don't even know what tomorrow
is
is.
Tuesday.
Yeah. What are you doing tomorrow?
I'll be at my weekly meeting with my team. But no, I think I can't put the expectation. I like to think ahead and think like this is what I'm gonna be, but I think this industry's unpredictable, as we said. Like somebody said they're gonna hawk to you, and now that
yeah.
I think it moves that quickly.
Yeah.
So, do I see success in my future? Yes. Do I know if it's the near or far? No. But is it gonna come? Yeah. And am I gonna get up every day and keep working at it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I can't say in 5 and 10.
Right.
It's I think if I put that pressure to like in 5 years I'm gonna be. Some people will be like, oh, set that standard and
Yeah.
you're gonna hit it. And maybe in like a traditional business.
Yeah, because there's a I get
But I
it.
know that I'm gonna be farther today, like farther on tomorrow than I was today, and so forth and so forth. If I get up every day and actively do things to push my career forward,
Yeah.
so I can say every day I'm gonna move myself forward.
Right. Give 100%.
And sometimes I may move backwards, but the
Ooh.
next day I'll move forward again.
Let's not say that. The next day you
It
gotta work
happens.
extra hard.
It happens. I mean, I'm like
yeah.
I said, I'm a realist. Like
Ugh.
if I'm writing and I get writer's block and I don't write for 2 days, I'm stuck for 2 days, and then I like write something on the side. But if I'm doing auditions and then I don't get any auditions for 3 days,
Yeah.
then I feel like I've backtracked. But that's the business, and so it's finding ways to progress in other ways. So maybe I'm not doing that. So let me focus on things I can. Let me go take an acting class. Let me go to the gym. Like let
Yeah.
me work on things that are
Deep.
any way to move myself forward.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't like to say, you know, next year I'm gonna make it, because then when that
Okay.
next year comes, it's gonna be on camera and they'll be like, girl, you didn't make it.
And then they're gonna come for you on
They're
social
gonna come
media
and
that
be
you
like-
yeah.
But I know it's gonna happen, and like I said, whether it's in the near future or the far future, it's gonna happen.
Okay, well let's just say it's gonna be in the near future. Let's just
Yeah.
say that because I'm the optimist.
Girl,
Okay.
put it out
so
for me.
I'm gonna say
Manifest it.
it's gonna be the near future.
Yeah.
You're gonna be wherever you want to be, the big screen, whatever you got going on.
Exactly.
That's what's happening for you. So thank you so much for coming and sitting and spilling some tea on
Thank
Tea
you
with
for
Trish.
having me.
Where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at Ashley Alvarez Official on all social media platforms, I believe. Facebook, TikTok,
Yeah.
and Instagram. But stick to Instagram because the rest, I don't know. Facebook, everything's linked. So if you see it on Instagram, it's going to be on Facebook.
That's right. That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
Right?
And TikTok, I'm working on it. So don't judge me. They're rough.
No judgment. No
They're
judgment
rough.
here. No judgment here.
I
Yes,
don't
girl.
got it down yet.
Yeah,
The TikTok.
it's okay. You'll get it.
Yeah.
Again, that's something else you'll be good at,
Woo.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, you'll be fine. Just go dance in front of a camera. Go
Oh
do
my
something. I don't know.
That's
just
the
go do
editing
it.
that's hard. I'm like,
Who cares? Just go try.
But
Anyways,
yes,
go be a
find
TikToker.
me, follow me, and yeah, it's just keep an eye out because, like I said,
Yeah,
big
because
things coming. It's gonna hit. Yeah,
she's gonna hit big, and I said fast, so soon. So
Yeah.
mark my words,
there you go.
because then you can come for me in a year. It's not gonna happen. She's gonna be good. She's gonna be big.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Ashley Alvarez. Go find her on social media, and don't forget to go follow Tea with Trish too. Not just Ashley Alvarez. Tea with Trish. Go subscribe. YouTube. And till next time. All right, guys. See ya.